Good morning, guys. Welcome to the opening bell. I'm Ashley Reeve here. Let's get started with this morning's market review. Before we do that, just a note on the information we discuss in this video is opinion and should not be construed as advice in any way. Well, it's really good to be with you. It's the fifth day of the fifth month, and we are looking at what's happening in the markets. Nothing's particularly changed, from what we've been experiencing for, the past 2 months. And so we want to try and just put a bit of context, into the discussion here this morning. So let's maybe just mention first thing, we are expecting the US job data this week. We know that there's a lot of central bank speeches. We know they kept those rates unchanged. For obvious reasons. The oil price has obviously rallied up the inflation as well. So we are quite aware of that. And obviously, we are constantly looking for any updates on Middle East tensions. Now, based on that, we're seeing the gold price at this point in time. It's holding steady, but it's still under pressure, though, at $4,551 per ounce. Despite global tensions, it has fallen recently, and that's because of the strong dollar that's limiting gold's upside. Something we've discussed, over the past 2 weeks now. We've been chatting about it, and then obviously attached to that, the past 2 months we've been chatting about it. So there's a big buildup of information, when the war started, but we're obviously looking for a little bit more depth on what's happening at the Strait and that choke point that allows about 20% of the world's oil to push through that narrow passage. And that's important for us because there is a next move in the world, there's a next move in the global markets. From an economic standpoint, there's a next leader. We have many analysts around the world online predicting many outcomes, but we've yet to see something in the headlines that suggests something really credible and sustainable. So that's why we are really just looking at the fragmented movement of the price action you find in the market now. So gold, like I said, is under pressure. We've hit that support. There's a lot of divergence happening at this area over here. You can see we have the RSI indicator. Whichever you use, you can use any of the oscillators to find some form of divergence. There's a lot of strength, a lot of power coming up from that support area. So we're expecting gold to rally a little bit, up towards the $4,600, $4,700 per ounce based on price action. We're looking at the Euro USD as well, also under pressure at this point in time because of the dollar strength, but it's still safe within the structure here. We need a little bit of movement. We need a bit of wiggle room here past the 117 if we're going to go back to the 118, or if the oil price continues to surge as we've predicted, back to the 115 and possibly the 123 if you look at it from a much higher time frame perspective. The 115 or the 123, then we'll see the Euro USD obviously go the other way. Right now, it's still under pressure at that support. Last week, there was obviously a lot of indication that price might come down, but there was no break there in the structure. So that's why we're not seeing anything move there. I see the guys online there. King, there we go. Yes, I am. Transfer, Jules, John, I see you guys online. Good morning to you. Yeah. And so, guys, there's a lot of pressure at this point in time, and you can see it, between the swing highs and lows, there's a lot of price pressure over here. Now, obviously, as you guys know, oil, is creating a lot of inflation, in countries, and this is globally. Central banks, they may need to keep those interest rates higher. We know that the Australian dollar has raised their interest rates again. But they hinted that they may pause soon. And even with the higher rates, though, guys, the AUD still fell a little bit this morning. Let's maybe just walk over to the AUD USD so you can see it on your side. This morning in particular, let's just get those swing highs and lows in for you to see. We have the Aussie dollar has weakened this morning, even though the interest rates have been hiked. Now, this is a class example of what myself and Tshepo always mentioned in the live streams. So Sam, I see you there. Hold on. I'm already in on the Euro USD. Okay, good. All right. So I'm gonna loop back to that one now. Let me just finish up with the AUD USD. Yeah. This is a class example of interest rates being hiked, and what the textbook would tell us by default, higher interest rates means a higher return on the yield from a percentage perspective, giving investors more money. But this is one of those instances where it's not working. The correlation is not flowing through. And this is some of the stuff that we always warn the guys on. There is the, black and white textbook economic way in which it should run, but it does not mean the market will do that, because there is other major drivers that's affecting what should have happened here. Case in point, the oil price right now is the major driver of what is happening. Since you guys know that the oil is obviously pegged in USD, or you need US dollars to buy the oil. All right, we are seeing that people are scrambling around $4. And so it's obviously much higher in terms of its value, but that's not necessarily good because, if you need more dollars and it's expensive, but you need what it buys, which is oil, it becomes a problem. And that's affecting the ability to go into other markets. All right, so we're seeing it come down a little bit here. Let's see what happens moving on, because the global risk is more important right now than the local rates. So that's going to be an important point there. Let me hop over back to the Euro USD there. Let's see what's happening. Michael, I see you. Good morning. I see you there as well. Look at this. So Euro USD, from an intraday perspective, it's not really much. We're actually just in between. Sam, this swing high and low. Hold on. Let me just map this out nicely. So this swing high and that swing low, that's where we're at. That's where we're currently at with the Euro USD. It's in a consolidated zone, and we are only dealing with this swing high and swing low. So this is intraday movement that we are interested in, and I'm seeing the support that is actually formed on the Euro USD. This is just being a little bit more detailed here with the opening bell. Remember, guys, what we're dealing with, we want to give an overview, but there's times when we can really push in and get some more context, right? So you can see that price has now pushed. There is a high here that I just like to point out to you guys. Let me just see if I can find it live with you whilst we're together. All right, let me see here. Let me just drop down so I can see if I can find it. We're going to go to much lower time frames, just so you know. There is a resistance now. You can see there's a lot of divergence here. There is a space for us. It looks that way. Let's see if it's here. No, they're still a bit too high up. Please get into our classes, guys. What I'm doing now is I am not telling you what we're doing in the classes by doing what I'm doing here. But we discuss these type of things in the sessions. All right. So you might want to find yourself in one of those classes. If you don't know how to do that, you can just speak to your account manager. Your account manager can assist you to get into our sessions. That's Mondays to Fridays. We have 10 o'clock. We have a 10 o'clock class, beginners, and we have a 3:30 and a 6 o'clock session as well, intermediate and advanced. All right, so here we have a beautiful resistance here. So if you're in here, and I'm being very specific with the candle, This is very specific with the candle. This is not just, it's very specific. So let me take that off. Let me take the zag off for now. So you can see what candle I'm working with. I'm working with this candle here, right there. Let me make it a bit more apparent. That's the candle I'm working with. Right, that long one right there, that's the one. All right. So this would be a fantastic movement to the upside if we can break through past that candle specifically. All right, that specific candle. From there, we had a lot of downside. So we're looking at that one there. And then obviously we'll look at some upside if that does happen. But again, this is subjective, okay? What we're dealing with is a oil price that is fluctuating. If the oil price surges today, this move may not happen. Just remember that. If anyone is in the Euro USD at this point, all right, I see Black Bless is there as well. Nice. If anyone's in the Euro USD this morning, all right, just be very careful there, because if the oil price rallies today, I did see some headlines this morning. It's easing a little bit. You can see it there on the 1 hour. It eased just a little bit today, but it can break through again. If it does, this is the oil price now. That's Brent crude. If the oil price pushes past these highs today, the Euro USD may not move that way. We may go down. So be careful, intraday traders, all scalpers, looking for some pips here past the 117 to go up to, that's about 52 pips. Nice movement to the upside. But just keep an eye on the oil price, because that is driving majority of the market. Needless to say, I just proved it to you through the AUD USD. If you're looking at intraday structures, interest rates were hiked, but nothing happened. The Australian dollar actually weakened. Okay, so the big picture then really is this morning, guys. Oil prices up, increasing those inflation fears. Don't forget that. That's going to be very, very important. And then also watch the, cryptocurrency as well. We are now well above. Bitcoin is setting the precedent for us very nicely. We're now above the 79,000. We're at the 80 now. We are still looking, and this is moving up gradually, guys. We're not seeing the crypto move up exponentially fast like, we would normally see it. Although it is a very quick market, I mean, it can really push quickly. I mean, look at this, from the height of 125,000 all the way to 59,000. So it's a quick roller coaster market. But then again, it has its pros as well. We've now pushed past my zone of 79,414 US dollars per coin. And I'm, anticipating the Bitcoin price to continue to rally to the upside. The place that I am looking for Bitcoin, for all the crypto heads here this morning, just give me a second. Let me just take that session time off. What Ash is looking at, the next stop is at 86,000. Okay, that's what I'm looking at, 86,000. Obviously, I'm not looking at it necessarily to go one time up. It can, but it could be doing the zigzag move, the wave move, all the way to 86,000. That's going to be an interesting one to watch. So make sure that you're there. All right, guys. But guys, what a fantastic opening bell. Some great context. Maybe just to conclude here for all of you great people, listen, we need more depth in the market now. All right. I think people are getting a little bit, it may not be said in mainstream, but people want depth. I think people want a little bit more information on what's next, because all we're hearing every single week when we come online to look at the news is, okay, the strait is there. Partially of the peace talks have now come into play. And I think Tshepo said it as well yesterday in our market review meeting. He says the same script. All right, US comes with something, Iran responds. So we're seeing a lot of that back and forth. We need something now that's going to give us the next move. We need different organizations to step in. We need a different voice to start speaking. I personally would like China to come in and say a few words, and give their stance. I'd like to hear more about BRICS, where BRICS is at with all of this. We know that Iran is part of BRICS. We know that Cuba at this point, I mentioned to the guys, I think is now part of BRICS as well, which obviously poses a threat. That's something we can get into at a later stage to the US. It's just the threat. The threat doesn't mean overthrow. The threat just means that it could possibly hurt. And at this point, we're seeing that there's a lot of threats like OPEC that have decided to part ways after, about 50 years of, making sure that oil is pegged. They're becoming more of a multipolar organization or multi-currency organization instead of it just being a dollar denominated. That's important for us to note as well. All right. And then we're looking at the eastern side where we're getting oil that's obviously being priced in the yuan, which is why I said I would like China to come and say a few things. We're just seeing Iran and the US that's dominating the headlines. I'd like to hear something fresh from some of the other country heads as well, so we can get something moving, man. It's becoming a bit monotonous and but tedious in terms of giving updates every day on price went up, now it came down, and so forth. We need to understand, even although we have it on lock, we know that the oil price could still rally up because of, I mean, look at this monthly here. We've passed the 98 again, come up from the 59. And I mean, technically speaking, there is a lot of upside here still possible. All right. So, guys, lock in. Make sure you get into our trading rooms. We discuss these things. Get into our sessions. We discuss these things at length. All right. We give examples. We break it down in a lot of detail so all our students understand. We truly have an edge here at the Academy, brought to you by TD Markets. And if you'd like to obviously get in there, make sure that you visit our website, www.tdmarkets.com. You can also email care@tdmarkets.com. That's our support team, super support, we call them internally. They are ready and they are waiting for you to give them some form of task that they execute with so much precision. So that's it from me here this morning, guys. With the opening bell, I'm Ashley Reeve. Catch the live trading room this afternoon at 2 o'clock. It's really, really good to be with all of you guys. We'll be in touch soon. Ciao, ciao.